I'm Sarith Malapati. I'm a physician in Los Angeles, California. My company is EZC Pak. Before I get into the benefits of EZC Pak, let's talk about the crisis we're facing in America. Sharks, this is Barry bacteria, and he's very bad. But Barry wasn't always this terrible. He used to be just a little guy. He'd easily be wiped out with a simple course of antibiotics. People loved how well antibiotics worked on Barry. So much so that they started requesting prescriptions anytime they got a cough, sore throat, or even just a sniffle. The problem was that most of the time, they were actually infected by this guy, Victor von Virus. Victor gives you similar symptoms to Barry, but Victor is a virus, and viruses cannot be treated with antibiotics. Antibiotics only kill bacteria, like Barry. So what happened? Well, they stayed sick, and they ended up making Barry stronger. Now Barry is a superbug. Barry's become resistant to antibiotics, and he's not alone. Look, superbugs are taking over. They're even attacking this car. I'm kidding. But I'm dead serious about this crisis. It's why I created EZC Pak. EZC Pak is an award-winning, physician-formulated immune support pack composed of echinacea, zinc, and vitamin C. EZC. It's clinically formulated to strengthen your immune system, because your immune system is what kills viruses like Victor. So, it should be easy to see that EZC Pak is an important investment. I'm seeking $125,000 in exchange for 5% equity.
Hello.
So, Sharks, help put an end to antibiotic overuse. Start using EZC Pak. Thank you.
Can we get samples?
Absolutely.
Oh, before they get samples, that was that was pretty fun, a pretty good cartoon there. I will say though, it didn't. I kind of missed the connection that he was making between bacteria and viruses. I maybe it's just me. Let me know in the comments, but I didn't see the direct, like, I know about the superbugs, right? How, like, oh, we're washing our hands and the germs are falling off and they're going down into the water, and over time those germs are, the most potent germs that are resistant to soap, or say in this case antibiotics, potentially get to mutate and get stronger and stronger and stronger over time, making them worse and worse. So, like, I'm aware of what he's talking about. I just didn't understand the connection between bacteria and viruses and how those two are going to meet and make it worse. So I'm really curious. Now, obviously, the valuation is quite a bit there, but check out shopsuperjoe.com. That's not shopsuperjoe.com, that's for sure. Get your ABCs on. That's apparel, books, and courses all over at shopsuperjoe.com. Help support this channel and help support what we're doing here in the super community, so that I can continue to justify spending more time here making videos rather than spending more time on the other businesses that I have and operate. I really appreciate all the support that has happened here on this channel, and looking forward to it more in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great packaging. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Mark.
So, sir, you're a doctor here in LA.
I'm a general surgeon. So a general surgeon deals with things like appendicitis, gallbladder infections, bowel resections, and a lot of accidents and emergencies. But over the last 10 years, I've been dealing with a lot of complex infections. And in the beginning, these infections we used to be able to treat with antibiotics. Now the antibiotics don't work anymore. So patients are coming into my care, and I'm basically going to have to do a resection, so actually remove the infection. So this leads to amputations, this leads to bowel resections,
Really?
and this leads to more people dying. 95% of doctors in America admit to writing antibiotics when unclear of their need. Do you want to know what the #1 cited reason is? Patient request. Our healthcare system has become so consumer-driven at this point. So, Mark, if you see me in the hospital, they're going to say, Mark, did Dr. Malapati give you everything you wanted? Was he nice to you? So my professional standing is based on whether or not you were happy, not necessarily if I did the right thing for the patient. And so this whole consumer-driven era that we live in, with telemedicine, urgent cares, giving you anything and everything that you want, has actually fueled a public health problem.
Oh, that's so wrong.
All right, so Mark's about to jump and pounce, and he's Dr. Sarah. I would love to have you come on the show and talk about your Shark Tank experience before we even go down that road with Mark. Now, look, I don't necessarily agree on did the doctor give you everything you wanted. But the consumer-driven part, absolutely. Look, when you look at what other countries are doing, they aren't doing commercials for what you should go and I would love to hear because look, we have a worldwide audience here in the super community. So I would love to hear from you down in the comments about what your experience is with consumer, I don't want to say consumer drugs, but consumer, the advertising and stuff. So here in America, there is a bombardment of, talk to your doctor, see if this drug is right for you, see if that's right for you. If you're dealing with these symptoms, go find out if this is right for you. And on the back end, the doctors, John Oliver, for whatever you think of him from a political standpoint, when he in his special, or his main features that he does, has beat home this idea that there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes as far as get those sales up. Look, we're going to advertise. They're going to come to you. You're going to go be a thought leader as a not as a patient, but as a doctor. You're going to be a thought leader, and we're going to help have you go and promote these drugs to these other doctors as being super effective and super this and that. It's one of the reasons we ended up with the opioid crisis, and that's finally coming to a head as far as lawsuits and things go. There is a ton. I could go on literally for an hour just talking about this. So I will spare you, but there is stuff out there. Go research that end of it. There's a lot of bad practices. In fact, at one point, towards the beginning of the pandemic, I was reached out to by a recruiter who had basically one of these companies that does just that. They promote drugs to the doctors, and was oh, you'd be great for a pit, to do it was all virtual at this point because the illness and all. But you'd be great to do these calls for us and all that. And I was yeah, nah, I don't really want to be a cog in that machine. I very much have very strong standings against some of the practices that are happening in that industry. And again, if you're in that industry, if you're in that health industry, I would love to hear your experiences down below, or if you're in a different country, because from my understanding, other countries don't have commercials for prescription drug medicines. It's one thing to have commercials for Tylenol, over-the-counter stuff. I get that. I sympathize with, I get where they're coming from, why it's important for them to market and brand, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to prescription medicine, I don't know. It's murky. It's very murky and not my favorite thing that happens here in the country.
That is so wrong in every which way.
So what's your perspective?
Look, you're the doctor, not me. But I know that family history and what's happened in the past is more indicative of what's going to happen to your future than almost anything. And so knowing information about yourself is critical.
Mark, I don't see how any of this is relevant to the patient walking in, requesting antibiotics, and walking out with
No, that's not what you said. You said that part of the problem that we're facing in America today is that it's a consumer-driven healthcare. So you think it's a bad thing that consumers have more information about their health?
I think that we do have an issue where products are marketed directly to consumers who may or may not have adequate health literacy to determine if that's an effective
and that's why
treatment.
this gets sold. Because that's why there's tons of these that are out there.
I think that's fair, Mark. I think the way he said it is fair.
Listen, I've been talking a lot about the overuse of antibiotics. It's going to make it that in X amount of years, we will not be able to fight off bacteria because we won't have antibiotics that work, correct? That's what they're projecting. I mean, you're kind of looking at me funny, do you agree with what I'm saying or no?
No, absolutely.
She's still
agree.
thinking about Mark.
Okay.
No, I absolutely agree.
Let me tell you, doctor, I'm very into natural products. Whenever I started to feel like I was getting a cold, I would do zinc.
which the product has zinc. So let's
Well,
talk
wait a
about
minute.
zinc.
Why are you ignoring what I'm saying?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, all
That's-
right. So he's bouncing back and forth. Look, he's still worried about Mark. I mean, this came up. We did a pitch from a couple seasons earlier. This is season 11, but a couple seasons earlier, where what was it? The minus Cal bar, and Robert was like, "Look, you suck the air right out of the room there, Mark. Like, you make it so it's really hard for anybody else to have space, and you're getting." Inside the head of the person that you're talking to, so it makes it really hard for them to be able to focus to answer any kinds of questions and all that. So it's really, it's kind of a shame. I kind of like, I don't disagree with what Mark's saying, and I don't disagree with Dr. Sareth is saying. It's very much there's a gray area in between. I mean, I try to be a positive realist and find that middle ground. And what Lori's saying, is what I've heard as well. But with that said, like, I don't, is that the end all be all? Are we not going to develop? To me, that when you say like, oh, we're going to get to a point where there's no longer an opportunity to fight bacteria with antibiotics. To me, that's like as if we operate within a vacuum, as if science doesn't continue to develop and change and all of that. That's the way I see it. I mean, that maybe there's probably more to it than not hashtag not a scientist, but I feel like that when you say things like that, it's like it's not taking into account what's next. Where else is everything else that's going to change around it? And yeah, that bacteria might get stronger, but our what methods should in theory get stronger to be able to combat them as well, I would think.
It's odd to me. I'm talking to you and you're looking over at Mark.
Sarah, it
And
looks
I'm
like
telling
we have
you
a
that
connection.
Mark, I'm from
into
Pittsburgh.
all of this.
Sarah, listen,
wait a minute. You know what?
I just want to help you one
I'm just going
second.
to finish. I was the customer. I've been taking zinc for years. I'm a believer in this. I'm the one talking about antibiotic resistance and how important it is. But the fact that when I'm talking to you, you don't even look at me, I'm out.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, then. I don't know how we got here. Are we ever going to talk about your
Well,
house?
doesn't seem like he's very sorry to hear that with the smile on his face at that point. That's a shame. I wonder if Dr. Sareth, if you had a person in mind that you were coming in for.
Going in the Shark Tank for you.
I didn't mean to offend you, Lori.
I
I'm
am
really
offended.
sorry.
I feel like you don't
No,
respect me as a female sitting here.
For a second,
this is
because
not the
you're
dream.
asking.
You don't? Well, then prove me why.
Wait a
No,
second.
I want to hear.
I just want to ask about the numbers.
I don't care.
Is that too much to ask?
No, I have a lot of respect for you. I think one of the things that I really like about you is that you're so positive, you're so upbeat, and you've helped so many people.
You're getting that vibe from her right now?
Absolutely.
I am all of the above, but I also, as a woman, and a woman in this world, and a woman in business, I think it's very important for women to speak up for themselves and to stand up for themselves in a respectful way. Not very often, I don't think I've ever reacted like this on Shark Tank, but I looked right at you. Maybe you were shaken by what Mark said. Maybe you were. I don't know, but I do know that when you came out here, you were looking at everybody else, not really me. I just sensed some chauvinism here, and I'm out again.
All right, maybe the
Okay,
guy's just nervous.
Doctor,
I'm
Well, let him finish.
not a chauvinist.
Okay, so we're going to break. But while we go to that break, even when she was still talking, his eyes was kind of darting elsewhere. And this could be edited. Look, that's one of the tricky things about making a definitive statement. It's come up here in the comments before, like, oh, Joe, you need to be more decisive or whatever. But the fact of the matter is like you're seeing such a small sliver of that time that he was out there, and it's painted in a way to tell the story of whatever the end of the result is. And in this case, I don't think it's going to end with Lori, but maybe it does. Who knows? Maybe it's a surprise. Who knows from somebody that's watched it. I personally haven't watched it. So, I think that was really bold of Lori to call him out on that, and to even suggest that might be the reason that he kind of overlooked her. But it could also maybe, just maybe, be because I don't know how many medical things that she's actually invested in over the course of the years on Shark Tank. I mean, there's a number of years that I did not get to have not watched. This being one of those seasons, so I don't know if that's the case, but it's a shame because you know what, his answer also I didn't feel was very specific enough for somebody who's been on the show since like season 2, season 3, something like that. Lori, I feel Lori's one of the nicest sharks on the show. Even when she doesn't really believe in something, she still tries to be positive and still tries to be there for the entrepreneur. And again, maybe that was cut out. Maybe he had a longer answer, but yeah, I feel like if especially because she's a believer in the whole zinc thing, which I'm not hashtag not a scientist again. Whether or not it actually works, if like the things like Coldy's actually shortens your colds and all. Like, I mean, I've taken it in the past, but I personally didn't feel like it made as much of a difference as, say, dropping a NyQuil pill and going to sleep early when you don't, like today I don't know if you can tell, but I don't feel that well. So I took a NyQuil pill last night so I could get to sleep early so I could kind of get in front of it. And to me, that works, really the sleep part works wonders instead of just keep burning the candle at both ends and like, oh, I'm just going to go to bed at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever, it doesn't matter. And wake up at, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and just keep beating your body up. That's, I think, to me, at least in my case, personally, that's the better of that's the quickest way to get over it is to go to sleep early, get more sleep.
And she's dropped out.
I don't care whether I like you, I don't like you, whether you've offended somebody or not. What I would like to know, what are your sales?
Last 12 months sales have been 1.2 million.
What did you make on it?
Gross profit on that was 850,000.
Yes.
The net was negative 150,000.
Why?
So last year we spent $750,000 to generate 1.1 million in sales.
What did you spend it on?
I spend basically about 25% on direct-to-consumer advertising.
How is your product different from all other products out in the market that have echinacea, zinc, vitamin C, and...
I actually thought this product existed. I then looked at what did exist. While there were a lot of products on the market, they were actually not based on the clinical data. When you look at the classic zinc lozenge, it only has 10 milligrams of zinc in the wrong form. It's zinc gluconate.
Sir,
so there are a lot of those products that are diluted, subtherapeutic doses of
I
ingredients.
gotta jump in. Look, I just don't think it's for me. I'm out.
Okay, I want to know your
numbers. Well, that stinks. Oh, we're going back to numbers with Kevin. I wonder, like, again, we got like a small sliver of what he was talking about, but he might have been talking medical jargon for a while there, and Robert was just like, yeah, okay, that's enough. But as far as from the numbers side of at least the numbers that we've seen so far, I mean, it's not bad. Look, the idea is that you're going to get the repeat customer, right? You get 40 to 60% of your people that will continue to buy over and over and over again every, month to 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, maybe. I don't know how long it lasts, but I don't know enough about the whole zinc this versus zinc that. And I'm really surprised that Mark hasn't jumped. I don't think he's jumped out yet. I think he's still in.
Numbers right now.
So this is the base SKU. This is the 5-day product. This retails for somewhere between $15.99 and $19.99.
What does it cost you to make it?
Margins 80%.
That's fantastic. Is this primarily in retail? So
primarily chain retail. This expanded from 600 doors to over 9,000 doors last year.
And are you running this
full time for the last 3 years?
So you're no longer practicing?
Correct.
Oh, you're no longer practicing?
Correct. What was that about, by the way? You were concerned?
Yeah, I mean, literally, we don't have enough doctors.
It's not a women's issue, it's a Mark issue.
Wow, why do you want to argue with him?
Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, I've taught a lot of doctors over the years.
Why are you poking the bear?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
can poke anybody he
I don't know.
wants.
He's making these kind of things. I don't know why.
So you feel the need to poke the bear?
No, I just want to know. That's not
Daniel has a question for you. Why don't you answer?
Listen,
Sorry,
Sarah, I care a lot about this issue of reducing antibiotics use in society. I think it's a valid issue. I didn't totally connect how your product is necessarily going to be the right solution. And there's a little bit of sense of me that you think you have all the answers
No.
and you don't want to really actually have a partner that you're going to learn from. So for that reason, I'm out.
There's no way this works. I'm out.
That's it. That's all Mark got. After all that, that's wow. They didn't talk about like any clinical studies, which is disappointing to hear. I mean, maybe it was there and they just cut it out because it didn't fit the storyline that they were trying to tell here. But I feel like that would be kind of one of the big things. Like, Mr. Wonderful's worried about the money, the dollars, the numbers. At the end of the day, like if it doesn't actually work, if you don't have the clinical studies to show it, then it's no different than just buying like literally anything and believing that this pen that I twirl in my fingers is going to change my well-being, my health. That's one thing I would like to have seen is talked about, like the clinical studies, and that has come up in so many other pitches because it is very important to have those, and yet not here apparently.
Okay, maybe it wasn't the best pitch ever on Shark Tank, but you have a business. You have good margins. So, the way I look at it is 5% is absolutely nothing, but there is a remedy to the affliction. I'll give you the $125,000. I'll take the 5%. I want a royalty of 60 cents a unit. And the reason I like that is I actually...
In perpetuity?
Yeah. I'm not going to say you had the best presentation I've ever seen, but I think you have a business. Your margins can support a royalty like this, and you can become part of my portfolio.
Thank you, Mr. Wonderful. Regarding the 60-cent royalty, what does that bring me in terms of your level of effort in helping to grow the brand?
What I love about a royalty is this. Our interests are 1,000% aligned because I only get paid when you sell
Kevin,
something.
can we do a $1 royalty that closes in 36 months?
What if I don't get my 125 back?
Good counter.
Why would I
Then
do
it's a
that?
dead
Well, we're
company
going to be
anyways.
doing 200,000 units this year without even being here, so that's $2 million.
Why don't I do it this way? If you want to do a deal at $1 a package, I want to get back 500K so I get a decent return for the headache we're going to go through here, and I still get my 5%. That way you know it ends.
Can you do 400?
Do 450.
All right, deal.
Nice.
Maybe it wasn't the most pleasant journey.
Thanks. I
All right.
appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And Lori still says good luck.
Lori accused me of being a chauvinist. I was very surprised. That's not who I am as a human being, and I'm sorry that she felt that way.
Lori, please don't beat me with a stick.
Do you want to know something? Honestly, you go on and on about how you love women, one with the woman,
It has nothing to do
support
with-
the woman, blah,
It's-
blah, blah.
I think the guy was really, I kind of agree with Daniel. He lost his track early on when Mark called his product a very negative thing. You blasted him so hard.
Blasted him because he deserved it.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, Dr. Sharath, I would love to have you come on the show. I generally like seeing face. Oh, I got to go all the way down here to see a face, and it's a woman at that. What are the odds of that? And then they're apparently available at CVS, Rite Aid, Wegmans. So let's see. They have the 5-day pack. Is it still selling for? It's still selling for $20. Yeah, I mean, not that many reviews on this one. Only 37 reviews. 4.9 stars. TY or Ty or thank you. Do EZC Pak next. Very interesting pitch. Wanted to get your thoughts on that one. Well, thank you so much for recommending that one. I appreciate you watching and commenting, being a part of the super community. I'll see you in one of these 2 videos over here. Take care and go be super.